Esteban is saying, hey, Matt, do you think running uphill or added weight is a good enough exercise to work the legs, or is it not good enough replacement for squats, etc.? So always remember that your ability to get a particular result depends on how much you achieve that objective. So you have to ask yourself, is that enough to achieve the objective of what are we looking for? To work the legs. Okay, what are we working the legs for? Strength, endurance, power, explosiveness. That's what we need. What's the objective? We can't make any decisions if we don't know what our objective is. Otherwise, again, you're going off of work. What kind of work are you doing? How hard are you working? I don't care how hard you work. We need to know whether or not it's in alignment with that objective. So let's just say, for example, strength. It's like, I want stronger legs. Okay, great. Now we have an objective. How much tension is in the muscle? That's what strength is. So the question to ask yourself is, if you put on like a ruck pack, weighted vest or something, and you go uphill, of course, it depends on how steep that hill is. I mean, if you guys ever come out here, I will take you to Philip S. Morris Park, to the mini incline. I mean, that sucker, that is steep enough that it's hard to get up it at all. And boy, believe me, by the time you get to the top of that, your legs are lead. They are absolutely shot. Am I working strength in my legs on that? Absolutely. It is really hard to get up that sucker. But if there's just this casual, nice little incline in the park, not as much. So that's what you're looking for. How much tension is in your muscles? And you can go with a comparison too. So go and do some climbing and hill sprints up a steep staircase or something. Pay attention to how hard you're contracting your muscles. You can go by feel, and then go to the gym and hit a heavy set of leg presses or lunges and stuff like that. The answer should be pretty darn obvious if it does matter. If you do both and you're like, I don't know, it kind of feels about the same, that's probably about the same. But if you do this, the hill sprints, you're like, yeah, legs are pretty work. That was pretty hard. But then you go and you do some hover lunges, with a weight vest on, and you get like a 5x5, and you're like, whoa, holy smokes, that was a lot more tension in the muscle. There you go. That's your answer. That's what's helping you achieve the objective. Because again, when things are effective, it should be blatantly obvious. It should not be something that is guesswork. And that's why understanding the fundamental objectives of your training is so important. Because if I shoot an arrow at a target and I miss the whole darn target, that's happened, but I missed the bullseye by a good 6 inches, I don't need to stand there and wonder, was that effective? Did I get what I wanted? No, it's obvious because I know what my target was. I'm like, oh, missed it. But it's also obvious when you hit it because you know what the objective is. When we don't know what a training objective is, any amount of work is always going to lead to guesswork. And we're always going to wonder, was that effective? I think it was effective. Maybe it was effective. What do you think about that? That's when you don't know what you're doing, when you don't know what your objective is. And unfortunately, for a lot of us, myself included back in the day, is when you don't know what you're doing, the default becomes just work harder, which is a very dangerous place to be in because hard work is a liability and you're just basically throwing money at the proverbial problem. Always beware of the hardest worker in the room because it's usually the most incompetent worker in the room as well because they don't know what they're doing. Don't worry about how much you're working. Worry about how productive you are. How productive are you about achieving that objective? So when we have questions like running uphill with added weight versus squats, all right, should be pretty obvious which one is more productive at the objective you're after.